Today in garden class, what we are going to be doing is we are going to be talking a little bit about a really cool insect that's had a huge impact on history and the textile industry. And so if you think about it, different things that we wear are made from different components, right? And so sometimes it might be made from cotton, which is a type of plant, or sometimes it can be made from silk, which actually comes from the cocoon of a silk moth. And so what we're going to get to do today is we're going to get to look in our garden kit and find what we think a silk moth might have left behind. So let's get started. Open up your garden kit and see if you can find something in there that you think a silk moth may have made. All right, we're going to go ahead and talk about that next, and then we're going to go ahead and do the activity sheet that goes with it from your garden packet. All right, so this is our sheet that we're going to be working on today. It says silkworms in Asia up at the top. Okay, and so you can see here's a picture of a silkworm. It's got a nice big circle in the middle. It's got a world map over here. Okay, and then it's got an image here that is the silkworm life cycle. So go ahead and get that out, because this is what we're going to be talking about today. And then if you can get out your garden kit, I want to see what you thought a silkworm may have made that's in our garden kit. So I'll open this one up, okay? And you're going to go ahead and get out what you think a silkworm left behind. And if you chose this, you are correct. This is a silkworm cocoon. So this is an actual cocoon that is made by the silkworm as it turns into a silk moth. And so you can see here mine. I've already kind of played with it a little bit with some other classes, but what you can do is you can kind of take your fingernail and just rub it a little bit with your fingernail there, the outside part, right? And what you're going to notice is that these little kind of hairs come off it. And then if you want, what you can do is kind of take your fingers and twist it back and forth. And you'll notice that you're kind of making this thread right here. Isn't that cool? So this is silk. Okay, and they make clothing out of this. They make bed sheets. They make pillowcases, all sorts of really cool things. And if you kind of feel it, okay, it's got a really soft texture to it. It's soft and really kind of bumpy, right? And then if you feel the inside, it's going to have a slightly different feel to it. It's definitely softer on the inside. And have a look on the inside too. If you have your magnifying glass, you can get that out to really look at the different textures that are in there, the different fibers that are in your cocoon, okay, and get a good feeling for it. So this is something always fun too. Think about some words you might use to describe this silk cocoon, right? So one we've thought soft is one, fuzzy, bumpy, smooth on the inside. Okay, all those are descriptions of what the cocoon is like. Okay, and so now what we're going to do is we are going to take our silk cocoon, you're going to hold on to it, and we're going to talk a little bit about this silkworm, all right? Because, again, in history, silkworms were a very, very important thing to trade with, all right? They originated in Asia, and they've been grown for hundreds, if not thousands of years. The silk cocoon that the worm spins is actually a cocoon that the worm makes when it's ready to transform from a larva phase, here, into that pupa phase. And when it comes out of the cocoon and emerges, it's an adult moth. So what we're going to do is we are going to complete the activities below and talk about the silkworm life cycle. All right, so grab a marker, okay? We are going to talk a little bit about where silkworms originated from. So back in history, there was one country that grew silkworms, or raised them, okay? And they would spin it into this beautiful silk fabric. And that is Asia. So over here, you can see way over here in North America, this is where Seattle is, okay? We're on this side in North America. Asia, okay, is over here. You can see Asia is right there, All right, and so we're going to go ahead and it says color the area on the map that is most known for silkworms and silk. So on this map, we're going to go ahead and color in Asia. Okay, you can just kind of outline it, fill it in. There are lots of mountains. There we go. All right, so we colored in Asia. So this is where a lot of the silkworms originated from. And then up here, we have different trace letter words, all relating to the silkworm. Okay, and so we're going to first trace the word Asia right here. You can see it in trace letters. Capital A, because it's the name of a continent. Okay, not a country, a continent. So we're going to trace the letter A, S, I, A. Right, and that is the continent where silkworms were a huge trading commodity. Okay, again, they'd make this into a thread and then they'd make different textiles with it. Clothes were really important in history. Silk fabric that was made into clothes for kings and queens. Okay, really nice bed linens. Anywhere you'd want something really soft, they use silk. And silkworms start off, you can see this is a picture of a silkworm. Okay, they only eat mulberry. That is the type of plant that they like to eat, which you can see down here. So just like our stick bugs in the garden room, we have the Vietnamese stick bugs, and they like to eat blackberry. They don't really like to eat fern. They don't like to eat ivy. They're very picky. They like blackberry. They'll eat raspberry too. Blackberry or raspberry leaves. That's what they eat. Okay, and so silkworms are the same thing. They will eat mulberry. So we're going to go ahead and trace two letters. We're going to trace the first one, or two words. The first one is worm, okay? Because silkworms are very important. They end up making your cocoon, right? And then the second one we're going to trace is mulberry. Mulberry is spelled M-U-L-B-E-R-R-Y, mulberry. Okay, and the last word down here, see if you can see what that says. What does that one say? There's a picture of it right here. Yes, cocoons. C-O-C-O-O-N-S. Okay, silk cocoons. So that is how they get the material for their silk threads. So now if you want, you can go ahead and cut and place a part of your silk cocoon here. Okay, if you want to keep it whole, that's fine too. You can do that. They make different fun projects, but if you want to cut it out and put part of it here so you remember what it looks like, you can do that. Okay, next up what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about the life cycle. So just like butterflies, silk moths start off as this caterpillar or worm, right? And they are going to evolve into an adult silk moth. So first, the female moth lays lots of little teeny eggs on a leaf. Usually they choose the leaf of whatever that caterpillar or worm is going to eat. So in this case, it's usually going to be mulberry leaves. So a tiny black caterpillar hatches out of its egg and starts living on its leaf. The caterpillar eats mulberry leaves and grows bigger and bigger. It goes through 4 molts. Okay, so you can see here, this is all the different molts. So a molt is kind of like what a snake does. It sheds its skin. A lot of insects shed their skin. And this little silkworm, okay, does the same thing. It's going to shed its skin as it grows, and it does that 4 times. And then the caterpillar starts spinning a cocoon of silk threads all around itself. From there, okay, this is the larva stage here when it's molting. It goes into the pupa phase, and inside the cocoon, the caterpillar changes into a pupa. So it almost essentially goes back to liquid and shuffles around and rearranges and starts to evolve into this adult silk moth. So people unwind the silk thread from the cocoon to weave into silk cloths, so just like we talked about here. And then if they're left to become adults, the pupa changes into a moth, and the moth comes out of the cocoon. And then the adult moths mate with one another, and then again you have more eggs. And so the cycle keeps going round and round and round, right? So what we're going to do here is we have the silkworm life cycle right here in trace letters. We're going to go ahead and write that out. So the first life cycle phase, okay, of a silkworm is the egg. Egg. So just like, remember, all insects lay eggs. That's always the first phase of the life cycle. Okay, so we can put a 1 right here next to egg. Okay, the second part of our life cycle is the larva. Larva, kind of like lava from a volcano, but it has an R in it. Larva. The third stage of our life cycle is the pupa. So we're going to write a 3 up here, and then we're going to write pupa, P-U-P-A. And then the last life cycle is the adult silkworm. So we're going to put a 4 up there next to the adult and do our trace letter adult. Okay? And there we go. Now we have all of the phases of our silkworm. And again, if you want to cut apart your cocoon, you can do that and tape some of it here in your circle. Okay, it's totally up to you. Okay, so now you guys, we've gone ahead and done our Silkworms in Asia worksheet. And so we've gone over the life cycle. We've gone over some key important words that are associated with silkworms and silk moths. And then you've looked at your silkworm cocoon and really gotten to know some of the different qualities of it. Okay, these are free for you to do with whatever you want with them now. Okay, you can cut them up, dissect them, really look at them with your magnifying glass. They make a cool little cast for action figures if that's what you want to do with it. Okay, you are free to do whatever you want with this. See if you can make a piece of thread and how long it can be. Can it be as long as one of your fingers? Okay, it's up to you. But now we have gone ahead and we have learned all about silkworms in Asia. So you are on your way to being a worldwide entomologist. Next time we are going to talk about bees in North America. So keep an eye out now. It's springtime, it's starting to warm up. You're probably going to start seeing some bees flying out and around. What kind of bees do you see? Where do you see them? So keep that in your noggin and then we'll think about it next time that we meet. All right, see you guys.